Hello, and welcome to our video analysis of the Green Healthy Neighborhoods Planning Strategy and Urban Development Project in Chicago, Illinois. This video was made for the CVE 4000 Engineering Economy and Planning course at the Florida Institute of Technology in Melbourne, Florida, with our course instructor being Dr. Mesa-Arango. Throughout the course of this video, we'll be discussing several different aspects of the Green Healthy Neighborhoods Planning Strategy. We'll give a project background, a list of key costs and benefits, key issues, key design implementation decisions, a current status of the project, and a discussion and criticism. Our main source of information for our analysis was the complete project document set from the City of Chicago's Planning and Development Department. It's separated into 3 separate documents: an introduction, history and housing, retail, productive landscapes, manufacturing, open space, infrastructure, and historic preservation.
All right, thank you, Ethan. From here, we'll be discussing the introduction as well as some of the background history for the city of Chicago. So the city of Chicago was built in the late 19th century. It was built upon swamp-like environment with a lot of oak forest type environments. So when building most of their infrastructure, there were a lot of small farms and gardens, as well as a lot of wooden houses. During this time, there was a lot of railroad expansion as well. By the mid-20th and early 21st century, there were a lot of technical advancements. Motor vehicles were coming out, and a lot of the railroad expansions were in the decline. So by that time, due to the Great Depression and most of the Midwest expansion, a lot of African American families were looking for better living environments, and so they were moving from the outer area of the Chicago city and moving more towards the larger cities such as central Chicago. And from the vacancy of the outer Chicago area, a lot of families moved from the outer Chicago into the more populated areas where business and jobs were a lot more open and there were a lot more opportunities there. So a large drop in population of nearly 63% from 1960 to roughly 2010 in the outer Chicago area has rapidly declined, and with many of the homes being wooden houses, it would not allow for livable living areas.
And now will be discussed the costs and benefits. Sustainable development is a very important global topic in the construction industry. Green buildings are an integrated design process which in fact can have higher costs, but the long-term benefits will be greater. High-performing green projects provide life cycle cost benefits and positive effects on human health and performance. One of the country's major manufacturing locations is the Chicago metropolitan area. Despite the fact that the number of manufacturing jobs has declined in the past few decades, manufacturing itself has become a more important specialization in the country. One of the main aims is to build and improve the rail infrastructure, and so the expectation is to triple in value from $235 billion to $704 billion, and double in weight from 127,194 tons to 256,740 in 2011 to 2040. These major increases in freight movement will simply strengthen the region's role as major manufacturing center. The region even adopted Chicago's Sustainable Industries (CSI), a business plan for manufacturing which identified rail infrastructure as a crucial asset. So overall, the goal is to build upon Chicago's industrial foundation and transportation infrastructure to increase the number of manufacturing and industrial jobs. So the long-term benefits are to protect and modernize manufacturing areas. Second, provide distribution and warehouse facilities. Third, urban development. And finally, positive impact on the environment.
And now, issues. The biggest thing holding back our evaluation of the green healthy neighborhood is that it is still early in its planning stages. The official plan proposal was approved in 2014 and can take anywhere from 10 to 20 years to complete. As you can see on the figure on the right, there are many active organizations in the area. All these organizations will want to voice their opinions in the design and operation of the GHN. This may be problematic because it can cause delays and changes to the plan. The success of the green healthy neighborhood is driven by public interest. If people do not want to live here, then the remaining units will not be finished and sold. Also, with the sustainability theme of the GHN, if the public does not believe in the goal, then the GHN will not have a functioning design. There are roughly 16,000 units remaining that need to be renovated and sold. In the proposal, we noticed that the planners were very interested in conserving as many of the buildings as possible, but we agree that they should be renovated and reused, but we also think that the units should be inspected before being renovated and lived in. The social impact of the green healthy neighborhood could separate the middle class from the rest of Chicago, causing long-term political conflicts and economic instability. While it is not the goal of the GHN to gentrify Chicago, it is something that needs to be considered before construction begins.
And now, decisions. Given its ambitious and expansive nature, the GHN strategy aims to bring about several positive changes. The goal to revitalize abandoned and rundown parts of the city will potentially improve commerce and quality of life for citizens. For example, access to healthier foods, public parks and trails, improved transit systems, and road infrastructure. It aims to improve housing and population issues and to connect citizens with easier access to public transit systems, as well as preserve Chicago's historic manufacturing district, housing, and landmarks. Along with advantages come disadvantages. Some of these include the integration of different programs and studies, which can delay initial time frame. More time means more money. A major aspect of the overall initiative is community outreach, which can prove to be difficult if the community isn't fully engaged. Conflicts such as gentrification can also arise from improvement. The overall lengthy time frame of the project means it is susceptible to economic changes that can negatively impact progress. Overall funding continues to be an issue for large lot renovations. City support may mean it is susceptible to bureaucratic red tape involvement with meeting community guidelines for the renovation process, such as receiving deeds to land, community staffing issues, and giving out necessary information to landowners. In order to reduce conflicts with the public, planners and designers should become more transparent. Contingency plans can also be implemented for possible external economic shifts. For example, having mitigation plans for possible cost increases such as in cost of materials or building tax rates. The issue of restoration and preservation of old existing building also comes into play. Our team decided to propose an inspection plan of existing structures to ensure the safety of the community. The buildings that do not pass the inspection can be renovated or rebuilt to meet the proper building codes. Though there are several key issues that can occur with this project, we have proposed several ideas and mitigation plans to resolve these issues. Our team goes into more detail in later sections. GHN is in the early stages but has already shown to have positive impact on neighborhoods that were originally unused and vacant that the city was already paying for. Its first steps show a prospective future with the continued responsible use of funds to revitalize and preserve Chicago's past while preparing it for a sustainable future. Overall, we have decided to fully support the GHN project and tackle any issues that can arise.
And now, status and expectations. The status of the Green Healthy Neighborhood is that there are at least 5 to 15 more years left of planning. Our main concern is that no official updates have been released by the City of Chicago or any of its partners. We expect political conflicts to cause delays and changes to our plan, and we also expect funding to play a major part in the planning stage leading up to construction. Other than that, there has been steady increase in population and job growth, so we expect the housing market to also be growing. We expect the GHN to operate with a focus on sustainability. We also expect the majority of the remaining units to be conserved, keeping the historic architecture around for decades to come.
And now we'll move on to our discussion and conclusion. Given the expansive scope of this urban development project, the Chicago Department of Planning and Development, similar to managers of most projects, had to consider a multitude of factors if they hope to fulfill their stated objectives. For one, they need to continue to conducting a proper assessment of the social, economic, and environmental impacts that this type of project would have on the area. Making sure to have a clear and concise line of communication between all involved parties, as well as presenting all initiatives in monetary terms, will be crucial steps moving forward. So far, the project has shown noticeable results in implementing their plans to improve housing, encourage more productive landscapes and open space, and maintaining the historic preservation of buildings and landmarks. While this project has experienced both internal and external challenges and is still ongoing, our verdict overall is that the Green Healthy Neighborhoods planning strategy has been successful and looks to be very promising in the coming years.